Q&Asa. Game on daily.
Welcome to the world of Q&A, so a very special edition with a guest who is phasing in and out of existence through some minor technical issues on my end, but it's perfect. Anthony, please. Anthony? You do the third, don't you? I heard you say your own name earlier. Please say hello to all the good people. Yeah, that's what I was going to lead with anyway, so that's fine. So, he's muted. Oh, no. Nothing that you said, none of your introduction came through. No, it's not your fault. It is OBS. So bear with me a second. He said his name is Anthony Cappello. I pronounced it absolutely perfectly. He's very happy to be here. He's a para taekwondo athlete and legend, very, very fast. And I think if you talk now, it's going to come through properly.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Perfect. It is. It's all good. I'm sure that's coming through. I'm confident. I can see the lines.
All right.
Possibly slightly over. Good to go. So, this is a special edition. You know how Q&Asa works. We have a back and forth. You will talk to me, you will talk to each other, and we just see where the conversation takes us. Slightly different today because we do have our guest with us. So talk to him directly as well, and we'll respond as we see fit and see how the conversation goes. What I will say, so I don't normally have guests over here. We had Gamzly, I'm going to call you Gamzly for the rest of it, on Go Live a couple of Saturdays back. And he's a really interesting chap with a really unique perspective on video games that I don't normally get to see and hear from because he's an Xbox fan, which you don't get a lot of that around here. So yeah, so I thought, yeah, we've got to get him on for a chat about Xbox. And obviously he's got a very different perspective on games because you've got accessibility issues, if you're not. You described yourself on Saturday as a disabled athlete, right?
Yes.
Which gives you a very different perspective to a lot of people. But you mentioned that you've loved video games since 12. So let's start there. How did you first engage with video games? What got you into it?
All right. So that's a long story. I'll start with my mother. My mother was like the all-star of all my stories. She really did do her best to keep me engaged with every possible thing I could. The doctors also suggested to make her have me engage with the smallest objects possible to kind of get that micro muscle engagement in my hands. So when I was younger, I had very hard time picking up stuff. My arms and fingers were weak. So they suggested me picking up small things and really trying to manipulate them. And my mom was really good at that. She gave me anything to play with. And it's funny because she used to give me joysticks just random little N64 controllers just to play around, like those really awkward ones, right? And that really kickstarted me into gaming, oddly enough.
Did you had the controllers before you had the games, just as a like a fidget toy?
Yes. Yes, I did actually. And even the normal NES Classic, like the NES controllers, which were like 3 buttons at the time. Right? 3 buttons, if I remember correctly. So they would
The
give
B
me
and an
that,
A.
and I would
Yeah.
just, huh?
Just the B and the A on
Yeah,
the NES, I
and
think, and the D-pad. Yeah.
yeah, and the D-pad, exactly. And she would give me that, and I would just like press the buttons, and it was really cute. And then when I got to the age of 6, computer game, so PC gaming started to enhance a little bit. It started to get better and better with games like, StarCraft and Warcraft, and I believe like late 90s. Um, and that's where I really started to game. I started gaming on PC first. I was really PC heavy. I really did like mouse more than joystick. It just gave me more control. And luckily for me, I have 2 fingers on each hand. So pressing the buttons for the mouse wasn't a big issue for me, and it was really comfortable. So the ball mouses, remember those god awful things where you
Dust
have to
everywhere.
blow
Yeah.
on it to make so I used to just play with the mouse at first, just kind of move it around the screen, and I was really fascinated with technology as well. The keyboard was the biggest thing to get a hand on, but luckily my school, again, my parents were on point, and my school didn't really give me pen to write my assignments with or whatever, pencils and all that stuff. They actually just gave me access to a keyboard so I could, as I'm learning to write, I can also effectively type and do my assignments that way. So I really got good in that with a keyboard in school. And then as my brothers start to get older as well and really enjoy games, I have 2 older brothers. They used to bully me a lot. Now I bully them. So they used to play Heroes of Might and Magic, and that was my first big game. I don't know if you know this game, Asa. Heroes of Might and
I
Magic.
played.
think it was
There's been
right
loads
now.
of those. Yeah, I have definitely played a couple of
Yeah,
them. They're the
yeah.
ones where you get the big board and you move around, collect your little army, and
It's like very
Yeah.
resource heavy, little city management, tactical combat.
played that. I had
Love
a
those
French exchange. Worst week of my life was when I was playing that game, but I had played it a little bit in French and not understood what was going on. But yeah, I do know it.
Yeah, did you? French. Oh my god, I still can't even talk French that well, and I'm in Quebec. So I really got obsessed with that game because it was just an activity bonding session with my brothers who had totally different interests. They had the gaming thing to link us, which was nice, but they had totally different interests in me, and we didn't really get to hang out much, and I couldn't do the sports activities at first, right? So we used that as a really good bonding experiment, and it worked out, and lo and behold, I got super addicted to it and competitive in it because that game had a competitive edge to it. You could actually fight each other.
Yeah.
And I just got super obsessed, and I would beat them down, Asa, like the worthless slugs that they are. But it all started with that.
And then obviously you took that competitive edge. You're an athlete as well. You do your taekwondo, WT taekwondo in particular. So I do. Some of the people here know that I do an awful lot of taekwondo as well. But I do ITF, which uses the hands a lot more. But WT obviously suits you very well because you're very, very fast and you kick an awful lot. So for people that are here in chat and you want the back and forth conversation, this is a gaming channel, so it's primarily focused on that. But by all means, ask any questions that you want around the sports side of it as well, because it is very interesting too. Which one came first? You got competitive in Heroes of Might and Magic and then started kicking people, or?
Yeah, actually, it's really funny because while I was getting into gaming and PC gaming and Heroes of Might and Magic and stuff like that, my mother was trying to find after school activities for my brothers after school, and she looked around the place, and one of the things that jumped out to her was a martial art, and that happened to be Taekwondo. And it happens to be the school I am at right now, which was an awesome story. So she found this club, and turns out it's the biggest one in Quebec and Montreal, actually. And she chose to enroll my two brothers in it. And I was so fascinated by it. Like, anything my brothers wanted to do, I wanted to do, because I was very, very annoying. And so I saw them kick, and I instantly, from that point on, every Christmas, every Halloween, everything, I dressed up as a ninja. I got obsessed with karate movies. I got obsessed with ninja movies. I got obsessed with anything martial art. So Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on, right? And I really took a liking to it with my eyes first. And then I started to just kick after, like, I was just starting to kick in kind of the lobby room, right? Just playing around and try to mimic, because that's where it all starts. And my coach, noticed right away, and he's like, you should put him in here. And she's like, I don't know, like, I don't know how he's gonna react. He's like, obviously good, he's kicking right now, you know. So they lo and behold, they put me in the sport, and I just took to it, and I ran with it. Like, I got in there, I instantly loved it. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was for me, and then I got into sports after that. My mom was like, "Oh, he reacts to the competitive scene way more than I thought. Like, he likes the sport, he likes the activity. Let's get him into soccer, obviously, right? Soccer is the obvious kind of next sport to try to get this kid in." And I took to soccer, and that's actually kind of funny, because once I got into soccer and I got into the team mentality, I started to back off of Taekwondo. So there's a very large gap of Taekwondo that I'm actually missing. So I started at around 6, but when I quit around 11 years old, and I quit for soccer, and it took me all the way up to late teens. I was like 18, 19 when I was cut by the team, because, surprise, surprise, team sports are very political. And sometimes, you know, if you're not the star of the show, it's really hard to break through in a team sport. And I got cut, and I got discouraged, and I was like, oh my God, you know, what's happening? Luckily for me, and that's where a lot of my gaming history comes, through the teenage years and through the high school and through the middle school, whatever. All of this going on, sports and stuff like that, my mind was, you know, pretty up and down. I had some issues with my mental state. You know, obviously for a kid with a disability, it's very difficult. Confident wise, maybe I would act happy and I would act all, you know, crazy and athletic or whatever you want to call it, but I was very hurt every time I got a stare, or every time somebody would comment on me. I would take that to heart. So games were a really big outlet of stress for me. I would like just dish it all out. I would sit down, relax, play with my brothers, and that's where stuff really started to get hardcore in like early 2000s, where, you know, Warcraft and World of Warcraft and Counter-Strike and all these games started to come out, which was my bread and butter. Right? That was my thing. I was like, oh my God, I could be competitive, and it's fun and it's social without them staring at me and knowing who's on the other side of the computer, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So sorry if I'm not seeing
perfect.
much
This is
of the
exactly
chat.
what we're after. Chat are hooked and listening, so they'll be in with more questions in a bit, I'm sure. But I'm gonna
Perfect.
ask, because you talked about a gap in your taekwondo, but there's also a big gap that I'm seeing here. So you've got your sports, you've got your football, you've got your taekwondo, you've got your PC games, you've got this competitive spirit that seems to be a kind of common thread between them all.
Yeah.
But Gaz likes you because you like Xbox. When did that come
yeah.
about, and why?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. So around 2001 is also arguably the best time for Xbox as well, right? Because if I remember correctly, let me see. 2000s, you get Halo, don't you?
Calendars
So
aren't my strong point, but
around
yes.
yeah, you get Halo around that time, and I mean, okay. So let me start with this. PC was a social thing for me. I used it for my brother. I used it to meet more people online with a lot of these games, and PC was always more social to me than most consoles. Even though Nintendo existed and PlayStation existed, it wasn't as community heavy as the PC scene for me in that time. When 2001 hit, that was like the height of my fixation with games. Like I really was heavily fixated on them, and it was around the time I got cut from soccer as well, and I was looking for new activities. I was looking for any sort of something to grab my mind and take me out of the problems. And Halo Halo came out, and the Xbox was out, and as I was growing up, I was still playing, let's say, 64, and I was really getting used to controllers. And when Xbox came out with the original Halo, that controller, there's something about the size of the Duke. It's the Duke controller, correct?
It was the Duke, yeah.
If I remember. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the Duke controller, there was something about the awkward big size that actually just was so comfortable for me. I don't know what it was, but for my claw grip and how I use a controller, and the sticks where they were located just happened to be super perfect for how I used to use my hands and my legs to kind of press the triggers and all of that stuff. It just worked for me, so I picked it up, and it was like natural, Whereas the N64 controller, even though I started using it young or whatever, and the NES controllers were simple, they were just not very ergonomic for me, and for my grip.
Do you currently have the
grip.
Duke? Because they did a Hyperkin or whatever they were called, did a new Duke, didn't they? Is that still the most comfortable?
I haven't tested it, honestly. That's a good question, and I think I should try it. But I haven't tested it because I never really looked back. I'm blurry, but, I never really looked back because it's not as big. The controllers we have now aren't as big, but the layout is just so... I guess where it comes from, where it really gets into the nitty-gritty stuff, is where the triggers, the analog sticks are, right? They have to be offset for me. They can't be in the middle like the PlayStation controller, so fuck PlayStation. But sorry, my words. That's actually a big component why I didn't really go with PlayStation as well, besides the social aspect. It just, everything lined up with Xbox. The controller was comfortable for me. I can hold it. They really pushed the social online aspect of games forward in the console space, and that I was very pro that. I was already doing World of Warcraft and StarCraft stuff and Warcraft 3 stuff, and I really enjoyed that environment. So, oh my god, even Worms. Have you ever heard of that? Worms?
Yeah, Worms, of course.
Of
course I've heard of Worms.
Oh my god, fantastic, So I really love that environment, love that social aspect of what Microsoft and what teams were doing on PC, and it kind of carried to Xbox, didn't it? Like Halo had those philosophies, online, play with your friends, shooter, co-op.
Mostly always been fairly central to the brand, hasn't it? But so obviously you like Xbox now, and they're doing a lot right that still matches that vibe at the moment. But did you stick with them through the dark years, or are you that brand loyalist now?
Absolutely. I mostly still, because their online experience for me is just much they kind of blend together now. It's much harder to see the difference on the online aspect of both consoles, but um, it's just how everything flows together. It's just, to me, Xbox is this online community, and PlayStation still, to me, is this, you sit down alone and play whatever. Nintendo was even different to me in that way, because Nintendo really did focus on co-op. But when did PlayStation and PlayStation mascots really go with the solo? I mean, with the co-op kind of thing. I don't even remember when the last
Yeah.
game they really marketed co-op for, right? So
Yeah.
PlayStation, to me, just never clicked, because they never said, look at us, we are community, we are family, we have this co-op mindset, we have this multiplayer mindset. Co-op is also very freaking important for me, especially
You
in
still
the
play with
early
your
days.
brothers?
Always. We played the entirety of Baldur's Gate 3 together. Both of us, so me and my two older brothers. And they're like way off of gaming right now, but very, like, so often, like once in a while, they come and play a big game with me, which was Baldur's Gate 3 at this point, and World of Warcraft way before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Xbox was just always that place to play with friends, and I really truly loved that. Even through the dark times, it didn't change, right? It was still sit down, play some Gears with your buddy, or sit down, play some Halo, sit down, play some Forza, have this kind of community mindset. And the online was always better. Servers were always better. Servers, yeah, I like to compare them. As I said, they like to jumble up together now. They seem much closer now, even though they're not. But at that time, it really did feel like Nintendo to me right now, right? Like, at that time, Xbox just worked, and everything around it didn't.
Yeah, when the 360 came out and Xbox Live Gold was kind of set and featured as a multiplayer place to play, and people laugh at the fact that they introduced like paying for it, and that's a bad thing today when you're still paying for nothing. But back in those days, it was a special place. It was doing things the other platforms weren't. It did hold that value, didn't it? I was there. I remember.
Yes. Yeah. No, it really did. It really did push me. So a lot of key factors, right? You got the controller, the online, the co-op mindset. All of that just hit me in a perfect place at a perfect time, especially when I needed it most, where I was less athletic because I got, let's say, discouraged about not making the team, like the soccer team and all that stuff. And while I was searching for an alternative, and before I remembered that I loved Taekwondo so much, it just hit me right. I was a WoW head, like super competitive in WoW. I don't know if I told anyone, but like in that time when Burning Crusade came out, around that time, 2000, oh my god, I don't even know, 2004, what was it?
Calendars again.
I'm sure
Burning Crusade is when I
chat can
started World of Warcraft.
2007.
Ranked arena, competitive battlegrounds. What were you on?
Yes, both. I was Grand Marshal, and I was also I had a gladiator title during the Burning Crusade.
Gonna be blunt.
Gladiator.
Medals around your neck are more impressive. I get.
Yes, 100%. That's why I'm wearing them. No, I'm wearing them to be a dick. That's why I'm wearing them. But yeah, no, it's those titles are, they take time, and it's hard. And honestly, at that point of time, it was very impressive for whoever played that game, right?
It was, and I mock it. For those that don't know, that was like, it was a top, really small percentage of players that got that, wasn't it? So you did actually have to be good, and it probably is.
Yes.
To some people, similarly impressive in its own right. I wouldn't take away from the. Doesn't take the years of training that your taekwondo's taken, right?
No, not at all. But I do credit it for a lot of my stable mind, though. I do credit the gaming and the ranked play and whatever. I credit it for my overall structure and outlook on things. I know that's weird, but I did get a sort of structure by it, and I was able to be more communicative and understanding, and kind of ignore, or kind of separate myself from the disability a little bit. Um, and that really truly did help me breathe a little bit, for when I needed to face it head on. So I
Mhm.
credit a lot to the gaming. Um, yeah.
When did you
So
fall
when
off of
Burning
World of
Crusade,
Warcraft?
I fell off around the. I remember it was the end of Wrath of the Lich King, and I was on my. I still play it to this day. It's just on and off.
Mm.
Um, I fell off because I did get back into the
Yeah.
I did get back into physical stuff again, but it also really, what I don't tell people, and what I have to say, is that during the gaming years, during that time that I was heavy into games, so right when I got cut from soccer and I was looking for something new, that was a rough time for me. I slowly descended into work. Like, all I was doing was work, gaming, and then eating. I wasn't
Hmm.
training, I wasn't doing much, I was getting a little overweight, and for me that's shocking because I'm a stick. um and I didn't like myself, I didn't like how I looked, and then that started to become a huge problem. So I was really focused in gaming a little too much, and late night after late night I was still with my parents, and I got a little bit annoying. Like, the noise got annoying with my father. It actually really caused a rift between me and my dad, and my dad is a villain of this story a little bit. But without going too deep into that,
Hmm.
he heavily discouraged my gaming obsession, right, or my gaming ideas, which is too bad, because if I continued Asa, I would probably
They'll be
make
Gladiator if
way
that
more
still
money.
exists.
Yeah, I could have probably made a lot more money in League of
Mm.
Legends, and by the way, I'll tell you about that later. But League of Legends and all these other games that blew up uh, in esports, and I could have been that it's not too late, but just keep that in mind.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so he heavily discouraged that, and kind of pushed me more into work, and I found taekwondo right after that. Around 20, I started back hardcore taekwondo when I was 20 years old, so 13 years ago. That's when I really started to kick in. So it was a 2-year drought of activity. Then I had the falling out a little bit with my dad, and I focused on work for those 2 years. And then I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, you know what? I gotta find something to put my mind to, and put my competitiveness to work, because I really needed it. So I need those real life achievements, not the
Mhm.
fucking Xbox achievements, the real life achievements, like these things. So I I started um I started thinking and writing down on paper, like, what do I want to do? Do I want, like, where do I go? I don't know. Basketball, can't do that. Football, can't do that very effectively. And I started going down the list, and I was like, oh my God, I really had an impression. This is what I'm going to urge the chat to keep an eye for. When you have a teacher or a coach or someone valuable in your life telling you, yo, you can do it, and they're giving you a lot of attention, they're trying to help you a lot, grab it, because this was that moment. um you know when I was a little kid, that man, my coach, made such an impression on me that I remembered him so far removed from doing anything. Like,
Mhm.
I remembered him at a sporadic thought. I was like, "Oh my God, this man, I remember how much he made me smile, you know, and he paid attention. I remember this man. I remember this coach." And that, if he wasn't like that, I wouldn't have went back to taekwondo, right? Or who knows if I would have. So I
Is
remembered
he still in
him
your life
first.
now?
Yes, he's my head coach.
Good.
So he's the guy that put me through everything. And that's why I urge you guys, really listen to your mentors. Or, well, not all of them. There's the ones that care, you could feel it. Listen to those guys. this is what this man was to me and still is. And I remembered him first and then the sport. So I remembered him and then how the sport made me feel in those days that I watched my brother do all of that stuff. So I went back, I called him, I'm like, you remember me? He's like, I can't see you, buddy. I can't see you. Who are you? I'm like, remember me? 2 fingers. And I've made a joke about my hands, and he just burst up, he laughed, and he's like, yes, Anthony Cappello, yes, I remember you, come by the gym and let's see where you are, and we'll give you a belt depending, right? I left at like green belt. So when I went back, it was like putting back a glove, that still fit. I remembered mostly everything. I was strong because I was doing a lot of soccer drills at the time. My legs were just really quick, agility wise. And then all that was missing was a little bit of flexibility, and I just took every kick, one kick at a time, and lo and behold, I was really good at it, and we worked on it from there on.
I'm asking a really important question in a second, but first I'm just going to catch up on the chat. So Darge is your friend now because you said fuck PlayStation. Thank you for that, Darge, for the super chat. Much appreciated, as always. There are a bunch of people here. I'm not responding as much as usual because there is a lot of conversation going on, but do ask your questions because we are reading them. And, well, pick up on things that you got for us. The really important question right now, though, is you had 2 brothers. They started Taekwondo before you. Can you beat them comfortably now? If it comes down to it.
With my eyes closed.
Yeah. So they didn't carry
with my
on
eyes
and
closed.
Or you picked it up again.
Yes. I do credit them because but there's one thing I have to say about my brothers and everybody that has older brothers. I love my brothers so much, and they're also a part of the reason why my hands and my legs are so strong. And same reason I credit my mom. Like, they didn't treat me different. And I know that's cliche to say, but they didn't treat me different. They always put things in my hands. They always beat me up. They always bullied me. They always, had fun. And it really, really got me stronger. So credit to all the big brothers.
Awesome. Let's bring it around to like gaming today then, and your disability and accessibility in gaming. So as someone that just follows it vaguely on the periphery, the general perception is that the industry has got better and better at catering to more and more people with accessibility options and ways to play, controllers and things like that. Is your perception that things are better now than they used to be? Are things improving?
Wow, you know what? That's a huge question. Easy answer is yes. There's a lot of, like, I don't know their names on the top of my head, but there's a lot of people in my community that are in gaming roles, not gaming roles, in consulting roles for building devices for disabled people. And they're working, there's wheelchair people, movement, disability people, like they could use the accessibility controller. Sorry about the stutter. The accessibility controller is probably one of the most well thought out devices I've ever seen. Do I play with it often? No. Do I use it for very specific things? Definitely. And that's why it's so powerful. Like, these guys in wheelchairs that can't move, like cerebral palsy and all this stuff, that can't move much, have access to buttons and little things that they could attach to their chairs. And it really does make a difference. It really makes a difference. My favorite thing about the accessibility controller is, so like I've really adapted to regular controllers, but the one thing I can't help but always remap are the triggers. So in normal games, the triggers shoot, or like in Souls games, the triggers hit attack, wide attack, short attack, whatever. So I would always have to remap it. It's like the number one thing I would have to remap is one of the right trigger for me. If I'm controlling, I don't know if you can see, but if I'm controlling look around with this, even if I have a claw grip, the farthest I can go is the bumper.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I would really have to either push it with my leg right? Have it resting on my leg and push it with my leg, or really stretch. But as you know, in a competitive game or hard game like Dark Souls or whatever, it really isn't ideal at all, right? So I
Even
would have to
milliseconds, yeah.
really, yeah, I would have to really switch those often. And the favorite thing is that they use a 3.5 millimeter jack for the back of the adaptive controller. So there's a bunch of inputs on the back of the controller, and you could plug in these little accessories and remap it to whatever the heck you want. So I put pedal controls. So there's pedals for pianos, you know, the tuners. They use the same connector, so I could plug left and right, and like I could plug in left and right paddles, so I could put them on the floor and use my regular controller for movement and still have easy access to aim and shoot. So for shooters, I use it all the time. I pedal, so I use my feet left to aim, left pedal, right pedal to shoot, and then I have my regular analog sticks that I use to move and look and you know, pick up stuff with A, B, whatever, right? So it's truly awesome, and I love them for giving that dimension to the controllers, and it really does work for us. But from my disability, it really works, and I know a lot of wheelchair guys that use it as well, and there's nothing. I mean, it exists, so it's working, you know.
And like so the signature of that one is that it's very extensible, isn't it? So you can, if the controller itself doesn't out of the box cater for everything, there might be accessories that you can add to it, plug into it, like your pedals, that will help out. I think Sony's controller is quite different, isn't it? Is it still a good thing? Does it entice you to try their games at all?
Well, when it comes to PlayStation, there's I haven't used that version enough to know if I like it completely. I've used it, I've dabbled, again, I have friends in the para community, so I've used it, but it wasn't very comfortable for me still. The big highlight is that, you know, the big joystick and whatever, and it's made for like really limited mobility with the hands, right? But I don't really have that, so I don't know. I don't know that controller enough to speak on it, but for me right now, I don't really jive with it at the moment, only because I don't understand it yet. I don't understand what it's fully capable of, whereas the adaptive controller, I've used it heavily, you know, so I don't really know. With PlayStation, I tend to use the third-party ones. So the PlayStation ones, I use the third-party controllers that have the offset sticks, and then I suck it up and I remap the buttons, and it's usually okay for me.
What games on PlayStation are so powerful that you'll do that?
None, Asa. No, I'm kidding. No. The ones that funny enough, the two ones that freaking PlayStation should get zero credibility for are the two FromSoft games, right? Bloodborne, which Sony, guess what, guys, doesn't have the skill to make Bloodborne 2. That's why they're not making it. And two, Demon Souls. I love those two games, and that's what I'm using the remapping for at this very moment. I also do enjoy Horizon quite a bit. I do. I talk a lot of shit, but I really do like those games. I'm a very sci-fi heavy dude, and it's very sci-fi, and I love the mysterious, in the beginning, the mysterious, like, what happened to this planet, what happened to this world, everything's primitive, but technology, and it was very fascinating to me. So I really like that, and that's a game I had to, for sure, kind of swap the aim and shoot kind of thing, you know, for the bow.
Yeah.
So that's something I would use it for, but I just stay away from fucking PlayStation, you know what I mean?
So what's generally then, when you're looking at the moment, like the games market as a whole, and you're seeing a game that you like the look of, Is accessibility a consideration, or do you generally feel like you can find a way to approach anything that's out there?
Right now, as it stands, because of these two controllers, I give the PlayStation 1 a little shit, but only because I don't know it. But because of these controllers, yeah, I feel comfortable with any game now. Or from my standpoint, my disability, my movement, everybody's different. But for me, I don't think there's a game right now that I can't play. Unless, of course, I go blind, and then that's kind of that's really rough. But yeah, not yeah,
and the entirety of the VR
sure.
catalog, because you mentioned in passing on Go Live.
Oh yes,
but...
yes. Oh my god, I'm so glad. Look, I have it right here. You can't see it, but it's right on top of my PlayStation. I have a Quest 3. And my I didn't want to spend money on it, so I gave my brother. They're like, "What do you want for a gift? You know, we need something big because we want to like pool in for you." I'm like, "Okay, MetaQuest." I didn't want to spend my own money on it, but I got it, and what I'm playing on it is mostly, I think I mentioned, Game Pass games. I love just lying down in bed and just projecting up and playing Game Pass games on it. It's because I just use my controller. So that's the main use I'm getting from it, but that is a big thing that I'm scared of, right? So when we were talking on Games Daily, Game On, oh my god, Game On Daily?
Game On Daily, yeah.
Okay. Because there's the kind of funny guys that do Game Daily. Anyway, I don't freaking know. Scratch that, who cares about them? PlayStation dudes. So this is the one thing that I'm scared of in games, because I truly actually believe that there is a huge future for VR as well as cloud. VR to me is like that end game. It's that end game that we're inevitably going to love. It just hasn't hit yet. Like, it's the future. It's the future. So future me, if I live that long, and also future disabled community, the future disabled community. I say future disabled community. I use disabled as the term. Sorry if that's a little outdated. I don't care. Future them, I'm really scared for them, because that is a thing that I really can't see an easy way around unless developers truly, like they are doing now, give Naughty Dog credit and all those people, unless they bake in accessibility options in the menus and in these games and have options for them, and have options to be like, oh, this is a VR game, but here's a controller option, you know, it's really scary for me, because I seriously I can't reach any of the controls. I really can't. Like, it's made like the Wii era was a nightmare for me, because it was the nunchuck. Did they call it the nunchuck?
Yeah.
What is it? Like
It was the nunchuck.
For me, that era of Nintendo scared the crap out of me, because I love them. I'm a big Nintendo stan. And when they came out with those things, I was like, oh my god, how am I going to use this? I have to hold the thing on with one hand, and the other, and I have to control with a different hand, and I can't like combine them for a solid structure and a solid grip, so I'm screwed. And I found a way around it, which was tape. I used the tape. It's so funny. I used to tape them to my hand. Yeah, I used to tape them for my hand, but the way that the triggers and everything was laid out for that controller is different from these, because the ergonomic is made for like a grip, like a hand grip. Like, it's just it's more ergonomic than the Wii controllers, right? So I don't know, it just slips out of my hand. The triggers are way out of place. I can't, even if I tape it, I can't do movement. Like, it's either I can't do movement or I can't look around, and that's super important, right?
It's difficult because they've put like the drive in VR for those controllers is to make them intuitive as hands, so they are very comfortable, and you can kind of forget that you're holding them and operate hands. But the whole point of VR, so you're worried about its future because that doesn't work for you and for a lot of people. But surely, like,
Yes.
in theory, virtual reality can't make things... If we've got ways of doing them in real life, then we must be able to find ways of doing them in virtual reality, because it's supposed to enable you to do more, not less, isn't it? So I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Well, for instance, yeah, you're right. Yeah, me too. Like, they just have to go more. For instance, you brought up the hand tracking, right?
Mm.
And hand tracking was, it seems like, was very, like, it was designed to get those really intense movements and those, like, clear movements with hands, right? When I put my hands in front, it just looks like a sloppy 5-fingered thing, and it doesn't understand what a pinch is and what a wave is and what a whatever is. So maybe there's a way around it, but as I said, they have to do more work, right? They have to actually do the work. And I don't know if there's enough push for it. Right now there is, like, for in the menus options of normal games with normal controllers, but to get to VR level and get that same accessibility support might be a little bit harder. I don't know though.
I mean, I'm optimistic for the future that when VR gets bigger, then it will cater to more people in more ways. But generally, that kind of leads on to a different question that I had, because sometimes when I'm seeing accessibility commentary around games and things, I see people get really angry if a game doesn't cater to them or to other groups. Like, this game should be reviewed more harshly because it doesn't cater to this or that or the other. Do you feel that at all? Do you get annoyed at devs or frustrated if they're not catering for groups of people?
Oh, okay. So I had a hard stance on this. I think on Iron Lord podcast. But look, I love challenge. I'm a person that grinds for challenge. I love challenge. I'll get around anything because I can adapt, and I'll tape something to my face if I need to, right? To get it done. I understand that there's a vision for devs and they should stick to it. I also understand that Dark Souls should always be Dark Souls, right? It should always be hard and difficult, and that's the whole point of these games. I understand all of that before I piss anyone off. But disabilities strike normal people too, right? That's how 90%. That's how a large portion of us get this problem, right? They'll get into an accident, they can't move. Companies need to realize that there's going to be a lot, like the people that are playing their games right now. Us. I'm 33, Asa. I don't know about you. How old are you?
Oh, somewhere around there. Yeah.
So like 70. No, I'm new.
I'm 41. Yeah.
I'm 30. Yeah, as we get older right now, like all these Xbox guys, like look at all the podcasts. The average kind of age seems to be around 30 to 40, right? And up and up and up and up. We're gonna start to get a lot of problems when we get older, right? Finger mobility, hands, I don't know, fucking tinnitus, so I can't hear my headset. I don't know, arthritis, whatever. That's a disability that sucks. So imagine if you're growing up and you could do something, and the next day you can't, and the devs have the same answer. You're gonna get frustrated, right? You're gonna be like, oh well, we should have advocated for this, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a man, it takes so little money to the scale, like for these big companies, right? For these big companies to do something like this, that's why I applaud PlayStation and Xbox right now, because they're really pushing it with their first party developers. They have enough money to consult, and they have enough money to build tech for us or for those people, and they are understanding that the average, let's say, age is getting really high for their games, right? Their profiles. And they know it's like some of these people, it's going to be a larger amount than 1% after a while. You know what I mean? It's going to blow up to 5-10% of their gamers that have a problem and can't play their games. And they know that they got to get ahead and they got to start thinking about that stuff. So I applaud them, and it doesn't frustrate me because, again, I'm different. I've adapted in different ways. I'm resilient, but freaking not. I'm part of like the 0.5% of that 1%. You know, it's hard. So I get a tiny bit frustrated if the big, large companies don't do that. Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. But not so
I
much
want to
the
be
indies
able
and
to
the
play
smaller
games.
ones.
I want to actually be able to play games forever, and so should you guys. And it goes beyond one group of people.
So, I'm going to talk some more games in a minute. Before I do, people that are there, the back and forth, I know you're not asking me questions, that's why we're not getting the back and forth, but there is a Q&A box. If you're on YouTube, there's a box there, you can stick things in there, as normal on the Q&A. At the end of the show, we'll go through each and every one of those. So if you've got anything that you want to say to me or to Gamzly, please do... Gamzly? I missed the L, didn't I? Stick them in there, and we'll get back to them at the end of the show. And there was another super chat, Danny Passion Official. Thank you very much for that. I can't remember what you said, but it's very appreciated despite my being a prick. Let's talk about games. I want to talk about League of Legends because I look at League of Legends and I'm scared of it. But you still play it? You used to play it?
No,
What's the story there?
No, I still play it. So, yeah, man, League of Legends came in like a fireball for me. So it all started Warcraft 3, right? When Dota was Dota and Warcraft. It was a mod kind of thing from the community, which why, you know, Halo should have got on that crap a long time ago with the Forge thing, Halo Infinite. But anyways, it came as a mod and I fell in love with that. I love that mode. And then it went away. I forgot about it. I played World of Warcraft. That was my thing. That was my like Dota feel, that competitive Warcraft feel, right? Got hooked on that. That's my story. Get the Gladiator, get Grand Marshal, get all these titles, get really good at the game. And I'm telling you right now that as Warcraft went on, it was so, like, for me, it was so hard because for people that know Warcraft, you needed to really macro and bind your keys to other keys and link them into one key and all that stuff. Imagine me where I had to, like, for specific cases in competitive play, for instance, like blood sacrifice for a paladin skill. It's a, I'm gonna keep this short. It's a skill that you could put on a person, and whatever person you put this buff on, I take damage equal to whatever, right? So in my early days in competitive, that was like a crap spell almost nobody used. And then
you pioneered the crowd control break.
I swear to God, I don't care who you believe or not, I was the one that started that. I'm pretty freaking sure I was the one that started that because it happened very early on with me. I was using it in cases not in arena. Arena didn't even exist. I was using that as crowd control break. So I'm pretty sure it maybe originated at the same time. I'm not going to say take full freaking credit for it. Somebody else probably did it as well, but I definitely didn't see it from anyone else. YouTube wasn't really huge in that kind of era anyway, right? They didn't have anything to copy.
I wouldn't normally interrupt and try and talk ahead of you, but I had to let you know that I know that you know. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
Just then, like I put the words out before you did, just to make sure it was clear. I know exactly what you mean with the crowd control before you said it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's crazy stuff. So we did. So I started to do that stuff. So when the crowd control break, thing happened, or in that time, that was an extra key to put on your freaking bar, right? For me, it was heal, cleanse, right? Shock or whatever, and freedom and protection and divine protection and all these skills to kind of save me, and I had to choose, oh my god, which ones do I prioritize in certain situations?
It's worth
And
pointing out as
blood
well, like while you're
sacrifice.
on that, for people that are familiar with the mice, the Razer Naga mice that have the 15 buttons on the side were made for this very specific purpose, because World of Warcraft was, or still is probably, but really heavy on potential keybinds and the need for
Oh
loads of buttons,
yes,
wasn't it? So if you get to Gladiator without
yes,
that, go on, carry on.
yeah, and I'm getting to that. So first off, those mice did nothing for me because I only have 2 fingers anyway, and the 2 fingers are meant to. My palm is resting on my mouse, and the 2 fingers are on left and right. So I couldn't, like, those 15 buttons did nothing for me too. So I was really desperate. So I really had to prioritize. What are the 6 buttons? Because I swear to God, 6 is the most I could use that I could get anytime a fraction of a second, and I could press them. 6 buttons. Okay, I had to prioritize, and let's say blood sacrifice or whatever it was called, wasn't one of those priorities because it was just a fleet of the moment crowd control thing that mostly nobody used. So I would have to not prioritize it as much. So I put it at number, let's say 6, but to stretch all the way there would be hell for me. And I would have to, what we like to say in WoW, click things. Okay. Clickers never made it higher than what, 1900, rating. Back then, no clicker could get to a gladiator position. Nobody. I don't care who you were. There's no way you're doing clicking in Gladiator. And I fucking did, Asa. There's nothing worse than knowing 90% of my losses were my fault. Nobody else fucking knew. It was this guy. It was all my fault because I couldn't get to that fucking button or those buttons in key moments, and it would make us lose, and nobody knew but me. So it was really difficult in that era. I forgot what I was on about.
Presumably you had like a regular teammate for getting to that level. Did they not know? Or teammates?
They had no idea. That was part of my upbringing, right? It was this sense that I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want credit for it. I didn't want anybody to pay attention to it. I wanted to escape when I played the video game, and I didn't want to worry about my fingers, which, in high-level competitive play, it was always on my mind, but I didn't want other people to be like, they wouldn't give me a chance, If I tried to scout the same people that know me now, and I tell them, they probably would pick somebody else, too. And I know that deep down, because why would you... If somebody could do my job easier and still do my job as well or a little bit better, or not even a little bit better, but might have potential to be better because they're just quicker, because they could reach more things, why not go for that guy? So I didn't want anyone to know my disadvantage. I just rocked with it. Yeah. So I don't know what my God, how did this come about, Asa? Remind me.
League of Legends. You're going to sell me on League of Legends and why it's a good game.
Imagine. Yes. So this was the origin story. So imagine doing all of that and having to figure out all these goddamn buttons and go through hardships of missing the Gladiator title in one season by like 1 point because I missed a button press, I was like, okay. After Burning Crusade, after Wrath of the Lich King, I think was when League of Legends started to take off. I have to do the numbers there, but I think so. And that's where I started to drop off. Is that my friend was like, hey, we are really like high rated in WoW, and it's having a down season, and whatever. Let's go try this game. It has like 4 buttons. He had no idea. He had no idea I had this disability. He just was like, yo, if we could dominate in WoW, we could probably dominate in a 4-button game, right? And I was like, oh my God, I love Dota. Is it a Dota thing? And he's like, yeah, it's in closed beta, and let's go try it. And lo and behold, I was a paladin, obviously. So they have Kaylee or Kyle. I don't know how they call her. in League of Legends. It's a paladin character that had almost the same kind of mindset. They had the shield, the invulnerable shield, as their ultimate. She had some heals. She had, you know, attacks that do big damage when you need them to, and whatever. They just played very similarly. She did at that point in early League of Legends. Now she's completely different. I dominated the shit out of that game, Asa. Like, I already knew the map game, I already knew the position game, I already knew all that stuff. All I had to get used to was vision wards, you know, where to put my ward, how to last hit minions. That's all I had to do, and it picked up really quickly. League of Legends right now, I'm sitting at Emerald 3, which is close to good. No, there's a lot of ranks. There it goes. If I would compare Emerald with anything, I would say it's around, if you know your World of Warcraft, it's around 2000. It's high 2000s. That's the comparable skill level. If you know, you know.
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
So I float around that. It's a very fun, I know it's very hectic, obviously. If you don't like competitive games and you don't like toxic people and you don't like the Call of Duty fucking lobbies, don't play this fucking game because you're gonna pull your hair out. But if you know how to chill, you know you're skilled, you know your thing, and you mute the chat and you just play the fucking game, you're gonna have a blast. And especially when you have friends to fill up the bullshit, it's a big game. It's a blast.
That's exactly what keeps me away from it.
Four buttons. Yo, 4 buttons, Asa. I was living my best life, man. I was like, yo, are you kidding? This is I remember there was a group that won the first world championship in League of Legends, which I wish things in my life didn't happen, so maybe I could have been there. But the first group that ever won, I remember, I don't know if it's Cutie Pie, is this really well-renowned at the gamer, League of Legends gamer at the time that also played WoW. He had his whole group, and he also streamed on Twitch after his career was done, and he was really big on Twitch. I don't know if any of you know him, but he was really big before he stopped. I remember playing with this guy I remember playing in beta with this guy. And I would consistently, because it was such a small group at the point, it was such a small game, that you really did see a lot of familiar names floating around. And I remember this guy would always play Ashe bottom and Ashe top. And he was super good. You know, he had the same mindset. And I would trounce this guy. Every time I would be in opposition of this guy, I would eat him, Asa. I would destroy him. And here he is winning my fucking titles, Asa. Sorry about the swear. Here he is, lifting trophies, lifting these over his head, while my father throws out my laptop. No,
somewhere in a parallel universe is you with that. Yeah,
somewhere in a parallel universe, I'm pretty sure I would have done good. Yeah, but yeah, that's League of Legends. That's my League of Legends kind of story. I played with really good players all the way up to this day, and just sadly, well, not even sadly, just different life paths. You know, I have Taekwondo and work. Like, my line of work is very successful, and I'm happy there. And you know, different, like you said, different universes. But yeah.
Last one before we go on to the questions that people left. So people that are there, if you do want anything back and forth with us, just stick it in the Q&A box. We'll get to there in a second. I just need to know, what's your current Xbox go-to multiplayer games? What are you playing?
Right now, Halo Infinite, even though I really do suck at it at this moment. It actually frustrates me the hell. Because, you know... It fucking frustrates me. Yeah, it's just, you know, the pedal is actually really helping me right now, because again, I could just easily hit shoot when I want to fucking shoot, instead of just completely removing my palm from the aim button and hitting the trigger to shoot. Usually by that time somebody moved and I fucking completely miss them. But it's nice to have full control. So I'm getting better and better at it, but I'm still actually programming my mind to adapt to the pedals too. So it's kind of a nice learning curve. So I'm playing Halo Infinite. I'm playing. Oh my god, It's not an Xbox game. I played some Lies of P. I didn't go that far in it. It's a Game Pass game.
Yeah, you like your Souls, don't you? Are you getting on with it?
Starfield. Sorry.
No, the Lies of P. It's a Souls game. You said Bloodborne and Demon Souls are your PlayStation favorites. Are you getting along with Lies of P? Enjoying it?
Oh yeah, I am. There's nothing better feeling than a FromSoft game, and that's why PlayStation fucking sucks and can't mimic it. And that's why you're not getting a Bloodborne 2. Anyways, so yeah, there's just something about FromSoft games that feel a little bit different. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, it just didn't hook me as much. But I'm definitely trying it out. But in the hardcore Xbox realm, yeah, Halo Infinite, I got my Starfield going on. I completed my first run, so I did one run of Starfield. I really am enjoying that game. There's something about it. There's something in my nature of my version of RPGs, which is very D&D like. I know I've said it on other podcasts, but I'm a very D&D kind of guy. I have a D&D game running every week, man. I do it online. I'm DM, I'm dungeon master. I put my friends through it. It's my escape when I wasn't gaming. So I use that. Well, it is technically gaming still, but in another light. So I come from that world, and my brothers come from that world too, which is why I really love it. And man, Starfield is just what I think a RPG is. It's so frustrating that it didn't get any sort of. It's frustrating to see what happened to the game, because I get the criticisms, but it's an RPG, man. You do your own thing, you build your own way, you have a faceless character, you don't know, you're building it from A to B, stats and all that stuff. It just works. That's what it is. An RPG to me is a evolving world. It's an open path system, and it's a blank slate for your character. No voice, no nothing. You're role playing, man. You're not fucking Clive, You're not fucking Clive, bro. You're whatever you want to fucking be. And
that's a Final Fantasy dig for those that missed it.
Yeah. For those who don't know who the fuck Clive is, good for you.
Right, one last one that's really obvious because we're right at the start of the year. What you're most looking forward to? Any platform, especially PlayStation. What are you looking forward to this year?
Fuck PlayStation. I'm looking for PlayStation to make an actual good gaming controller, but besides that, no. Yes, I can't wait for Avowed. I just expressed my RPG love. I think Obsidian. Come on, Obsidian in Exile. That's why when these two got picked up by Xbox, I was like, you guys are fucking. Me as a PC guy, I was like, you guys need to wake the fuck up, because these guys are legends, right? They built some stuff. I mean, In Exile has some hands in Fallout, right? In backgrounds, like dev backgrounds. These guys know what they're doing.
Wasteland's proper RPG as well. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I really do. I don't know. I enjoy these games a lot. Baldur's Gate 3 kind of style games, Pillars of Eternity, all that stuff. I'm ready for that stuff. So Avowed is my big boy. I love Avowed. I hope it comes out this year. I hope they surprise us. It's not. Is it? Remind me. Is it? Did they announce a date? No, eh?
They've said 2024 though. They've very recently, I think, one of their socials that they've just had recognized still says 2024.
Okay, so hopefully 2024 is that day. So that's my biggest anticipated game. Then it's Fable. But Fable, obviously, I don't know when that's coming out. I want to please some Xbox guys and say Hellblade 2, but I'm more. I'm not. I don't really care for that style of game because I think it's so. I get the push for technology, and I get why Xbox got them. You know, they need an ambitious studio like Naughty Dog. They need those people that want to innovate and want to push the technology and want to like showcase what they can do. I only am interested in Hellblade 2 because the story was so fucking good, Asa. The story was so good. I loved her. I loved the cast. I loved everything about that story resonated with me mentally. So that's the only reason why I'm looking forward to that. My biggest games, Fable and Avowed.
I reckon you're going to be surprised by Dragon's Dogma as well then. That'll get on your list because that's high fantasy too.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, Dragon Dogma was a weird one for me because I knew I liked this game. Like, I just can't remember what the heck drew my attention from it. But something happened. I don't know what year it came out. Maybe I would remember what exactly happened, but I didn't take. I don't even think I tried it. I tried it recently on my Switch, which is a terrible way to try it. Don't do that. Great fucking game. I could tell instantly, but right now Starfield grabbed me and all the other games on Game Pass, and then Dogma 1 kind of passed by, so I'm not 100% excited for it, but I'm in, man. Everything I'm seeing, I'm like, oh man, give me that. And it has that very kind of Japanese look, it just I love it. I love it. It's like Elden Ring,
That's why I cannot wait for Dragon's Dogma 2. Illegal Dad, ignore everything that Tony says always. That's a channel rule. My accuracy is actually a little higher than 0.00001%, but let's get through these questions. Go on.
One thing, I just want to call out God Emperor, Sofa King. Smite was my MOBA of choice. Yeah, Smite as well had its its day in the sun, and that game was awesome. Have you tried Smite?
I have tried Smite. I didn't. I tried it on the Xbox, and I didn't get along with the monetization on it. I know it's a typical MOBA thing, buying all the characters and stuff, but I don't know, it just didn't quite gel. Okay. I do have though. So MOBAs is the genre that I think I will eventually love when the right one comes out. Like,
Asa, you got to party with me. Asa,
League of Legends though.
Hey, Asa. No, Asa, listen, you have it. Do you have a Game Pass sub?
Yeah.
Don't make me slap you, Asa. You have all the characters with that sub. You have all the characters with that sub. You have everything you need in League of Legends with that sub. Does
it have
it's a good
unranked
time.
modes where I can't hurt your standing?
Of course. Of course it does. It's you can't even get into ranked until level 20, so
in that case really we'll do that.
And the
fact, for those that don't know, yeah, go on.
The thing about you, Ace, is that I have friends also that thought like you, and their thing was always, it's so toxic. I tried it once. I'm like, okay, did you try it with someone? They're like, no. I'm like, well, that's your goddamn problem. You're going from 0 to 100 with people that are smurfing. They're like diamonds, and they're playing at level 1 to boost accounts and stuff. Like, you're gonna get slaughtered. So play with someone. And as soon as they played with me, I was teaching them along the way. I played in their lanes. I played with them. I made sure they weren't feeding and being killed 25,000 times. And they have fun, and now they're hooked. They actually play rank.
You reckon you can carry and coach 4 people at once?
Yes.
Oh, awesome! Because what we do, we've got this Discord, and every Sunday we play some games together, but potentially some other nights as well. You're obviously welcome to the Discord, and we'll get you in there afterwards. But we can definitely add League of Legends to the to-do list, and we'll get a group of people that have probably never played it before to have a crack.
Dude, that's my favorite kind of thing. I love it.
Awesome! Right, if you're on the Discord already, you sign your name down, put yourself on that list, and we'll make that happen.
All right.
It's awesome. I'm scared. Right, let's do these questions. Isla, please could you present the first question? We normally get a bunch of random stuff in here. And you don't have to answer them all. That's my promise, is that I'll address them all, but not necessarily answer.
Oh, I could answer all of them.
Danny Passion Official has said nice interview. There's not much I can say to that. Yeah, Gamzly's awesome. It's been a really interesting chat for me as well. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Let's do the next one.
Thanks for the question, you dorks. Anyway.
Right, P. Game on P has asked, Gamzly, what is the most unusual game that you've played, and what game did you expect to hate, but it turned out that you loved it?
Unusual. Well, oh my god, define unusual. Unusual game. I mean, unusual games would be freaking Worms. If anything is unusual at the time is Worms. Team 17, Worms. Come on, guys. It's the best, one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. I love Worms. It was definitely unusual at that time of playing it. It's obviously not recent by all means, but it was a very unusual game in that time period. So
did you ever dabble with the 3D one?
Worms 3D, yes. Yes, I did. I actually thought it was a refreshing take on the. I thought it was a refreshing take on the model, but it did. They needed to refine it, and I don't think they had a chance to.
Yeah.
The thing that I expected to hate, and it turned out I loved. I would say Journey on PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I thought I was gonna hate that game so much. Like I remember seeing the presentation. I was like, "What is this?" And it's just this weird game, and the guy's just gliding around. I'm like, "What do you do in this game?" It's so not my type of game. My game is not no combat, no competitive edge. It's just not at all my thing, right? And I was like, okay, well, let me give it a try. Everybody seems to love it. I mean, people are praising it. Let's take a look. And I fucking fell in love with it. It was heartwarming, and I'm really glad I played that game. Journey.
Now that you spent all that time talking, I'm going to answer as well because I've had time to think about it. It was quite a difficult question. So I've just been sitting there processing like, it's not even aimed at me, but I'm going to answer anyway. The most unusual game that I played is probably Rocket League. Because it's football in cars and the whole concept is wild, but it's perfect. So I love that one. And game I expected to hate is Horizon Zero Dawn, which you mentioned as one of the few PlayStation things that you enjoyed because of the sci-fi and the intrigue. Okay. But when they first started trailering that with its robot dinosaurs, I looked at it and thought, robot dinosaurs, like, this looks like it's come from the mind of a child. It is creatively shite.
Shit.
But then I played it, and it carries it off really well, and it explains it away really nicely. And I came away thinking, actually, I underestimated them. They've done well with that one.
Yeah, man, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I really did not expect to like it at all. Let's have the next one, please, Isla. Everyone in chat as well, if you want to answer your unusual games in particular, because that's you can make your own definitions of unusual and just throw them in there. Right, episode 13 is your brother in Xbox. Halo and Xbox was his first open door to the awesome world of online multiplayer. He loves playing other humans. Xbox was the place to be online for multiplayer. What was your first game that did that for you? You kind of already told us, haven't you? But let's go.
Oh yeah, I think it was definitely the first online game. The first heavy online game was. Is this question like just for Xbox or on any platform?
I think you can take it to any platform. If you don't give an Xbox answer, you will upset episode 13. He's very sensitive.
For Xbox, it was definitely Halo, and for PC, heavily like something that grabbed me into multiplayer was definitely World of Warcraft.
Fair enough. Mine games that pivoted me into multiplayer were Quake 3 Arena, which I played on the Dreamcast and loved it so much that I ended up playing on the PC. And Phantasy Star Online, which again I played on the Dreamcast and loved it so much that it sent me down the rabbit hole of MMORPGs from there.
You know what? I'm so disrespectful, Asa. It was actually, I'm pretty sure, I had a little fling with EverQuest.
Oh,
Yeah. I had a little fling with EverQuest. I can't believe I forgot that bitch. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Take it back. I can't believe I forgot her. But EverQuest was definitely something that intrigued me before World of Warcraft. Anyways, there you go.
Right, let's have the next one. Damon Tony was on EverQuest as well. Replicant Quake was your obsession as a young lad, yeah. Pixel Slappers on Phantasy Star as well. Unreal Tournament, see, Unreal Tournament should have been, and if Quake didn't exist, I probably would have done Unreal Tournament just as much, but Quake stole it for me. Flank Sinatra, who's headed off to work since then. Have you ever been told you look like Adam Levine? Have you? I don't know who that is. I know Ken Levine that made Bioshock. Who's Adam Levine?
Actually, side profile, on the side profile without the beard and stuff, when I actually had good hair and not balding, Tom Cruise was one of them that on the side profile people would call me.
I can see the brow. Yeah.
Yeah. Not
well, there you go.
Not Levin.
There you go, Flank Sinatra. I hope that answered your question a little bit. Lead singer of Maroon 5. Okay, fair enough. Don't know what he looks like. Never watched music. Listen to music, but never watched the videos. Yeah. Next one, please.
Hey, episode 13. I know you're not sensitive.
Yeah, he bloody well is. You'll see. You'll come into the Discord and you'll see.
Fuck off, episode 13. You suck. No,
okay, next one, please. If there are any more questions. Yes.
Oh, that's it.
Mistaken with Tom Hanks. No, I don't. No, there's more. I think there's a little delay before Ella gets the message to change it over. So, Game on Pete asks, Gamzly, what is your favorite geeky gadget?
Oh, geeky gadget. I mean, I said that weird, but geeky gadget. Geeky gadget. My goodness. A mouse? Does a mouse count as a geeky gadget? I would probably say a mouse. Geeky gadget. Nah, man. I love. This is a dumb thing. It's more like a little accessory, but I fucking when little pens came out that you could write on phone screens, so like the Note series of Samsungs, I fucking love those pens. I don't know why. I have an obsession with those pens.
I have one. I've never found a use for it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a stylus and I'm going to draw so many things, and I've literally never used it. Don't know what it does with this phone at all.
I have such a fascination with those pens and drawing tablets, but I can't, for some I know that's fucking weird, but I have no artistic I have no artistic value in my hands. I can't use my hands for art, so I don't know. I have an obsession with it, but I love those things.
Mine's going to be VR because that's really easy for me. I love VR. I've got a treadmill that I run around on for VR. So
yeah, we
counts as a geeky gadget.
Asa, no.
Do you? It's a secret.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think we know.
Mention it very often at all because it's not like common ground with many people. You can't create content around a treadmill because no one's got one and no one cares. But I love it.
Hey, when you fucking talk, look, there's one right here. All right, use it every day.
Right, let's have the next one. Oh wait, Replicant, did you ever play Guild Wars 2 PvP? It's the other big MMO that's got a PvP scene. Well, Guild Wars 1 had a bigger scene, didn't it? I think.
Yeah. Well, yes. I believe it was a little bit bigger. EverQuest 2 was solid, man. It was a solid game. The thing that killed Guild Wars 2 for me was the actual monetization. And it always sucks when... Sorry?
That's what killed it for me was the daily logins. Keep logging in. You must come back every day to get this fucking treasure chest.
It got more egregious. Yeah, it got more egregious than that because they added the pay gold, and then you could buy things in the auction house with gold. And it's just like, well, that defeats the whole marketplace, you know? It destroys the whole marketplace. You can't buy gold like use real money for in-game benefits. Guild Wars put that in it, and I was like, oh, I'm done, because now you could just buy your way to 50 and then buy your way to good gear and then get into a dungeon, whatever. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, and so you're the same as me, because even though obviously you can opt out of it and say, well, I'm just going to ignore that side of it, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel that way when you're playing it.
No, it doesn't. And to go back on a WoW 1 minute WoW rant, if you would. WoW was at its peak when everything was hard to do. Like, there was one point in WoW where the quality of life was so shit that everything was hard to do. But that was kind of the point, wasn't it? Like, I wasn't an enchanter, so my buddy made enchanting stuff, and then I made fucking blacksmith stuff, and like there was a community to it. There was always an answer to that, to your life being easier, you know?
Always bullying the warlock plus one other for the summons. Like, you do the legwork, no dungeon queue, no teleporting everywhere. You go to that bloody portal and you bring us over while we chill out.
Yeah, but isn't that... No, but I know that's fucking a terrible quality of life, but it was actually
But it made
charming.
social happen,
reason. Yeah, it made the social network happen. It made that... I don't know, it made you feel needed. Now it's like... Now it's robotic. You go in there, you press a button, you get into a dungeon, you know, and it's just like, well,
you mute chat and you power
why
through
do we
it.
why do we even make? Well, yeah, well, fucking, it's crazy. I don't know. Anyways, that was my little rant. Go back to old vanilla WoW, which is why I'm playing vanilla WoW at the moment with my brothers again.
Vanilla, because obviously you got classic. There's like various stages of it now.
Classic vanilla. Yeah, vanilla, like classic vanilla. I'm replaying it. I'm like a level 10 priest or something. I'm fucking loving every second of it.
Awesome. Right, let's do the next one. Favorite classic JRPG? This isn't one of the listed questions. Do you do JRPGs? You mentioned Final Fantasy, so I'm assuming you do dabble.
Yes. So, and I'll actually take his other thing too. Fave classic JRPG. I fucking love the old Final Fantasy games. From 1 to 6, 1 to 7. I mean, I love those games so much, and that's why I kind of don't give a shit about 16. And I know I'm gonna piss a lot of people off by saying that. Look, 16 is fine, all right, but it's fine for different reasons, and I don't like the reasons that are missing. Okay, from Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy to me was awesome when I could grind and I could kind of, you know, I could grind and lose myself and, you know, maybe get a good story or two, but nothing serious, you know, and that's why I love those games. And 7 was really a good blend of everything. And anyways, stick to 7 remake and get the fuck away from 16. Anyway.
Fair enough. I haven't done 1 to 6. I want to, since they've done the whole pixel remasters, but 7 was where I started.
Yes,
I know that you had a hard cut off before 8. It was 1 to 6, maybe 1 to 7. Definitely no Final Fantasy 8. Where's that? What's wrong with that one?
I stopped my Final Fantasy train at 7, so we don't talk about 8. I don't know. 7 was
good until the end of this too.
After 7, I took a break off of Final Fantasy in general, and I came back around. What's the one with the fuck? They all have summons, kind of. What's the one with oh my god, the blonde kid and the summoner girl and the
10.
What was that? 12?
Tidus and Yuna.
Or 10?
Well, there's lots of blonde kids and there's lots of summoner girls. Tidus and Yuna was 10.
Ah, shit. Okay, so I think 10. I came back at 10, and then I lost myself at 12, I think. And then I played 14, and then 16. And then went backwards to 7, and then remake, and then it's a jumbled fucking mess. Anyway.
Please confirm
like
for
Final
Tony
Fantasy
in chat that Final Fantasy 15 wasn't very good. 15 specifically. Just let Tony know that one's 15? Not one of the good ones.
Right. 15 sucks ass. No.
That's good music.
And also to just go to Boba Fett gaming again. Vanilla WoW is such a time sink, though. Yeah, so is every fucking game. All right, you don't take away the most valuable thing of a social game. You don't take away the grind. That's what makes it. That's why you don't take away the grind in JRPGs. The grind is the reason for those genres to exist in the first place. Anyway.
Right, FTW has asked you, this is an easy one, I know the answer to this already. If you like D&D, have you played Baldur's Gate 3 yet? Which we know that you have. Without any spoilers, like what kind of character did you build?
So I went cleric because I'm a paladin guy through and through. Cleric was like the kind of I did like a half cleric paladin kind of blend. It's very paladin-y, and I like it. That's all I'm giving you. I did play. Again, I did play all through with my brother, so the storytelling kind of went to the side almost. It was almost like we didn't give a fuck about most of the companions, and that's awful, and I want to replay it actually properly. But yeah, paladin cleric and paladin cleric mix.
That more than answers that one, doesn't it? So let's do next one, please. I've not finished Baldur's Gate 3 yet, by the way. I'm on. I think we just finished Act 2 yesterday. Also playing co-op.
It slows down. It slows down a little bit. And you, what did you think about Act 2?
It's still awesome at the moment. Act 1 definitely you can feel the difference where Act 1 has been polished and play tested more, and Act 2 doesn't send you as many places with as many choices, but it's also it is more dramatic with what it does. So
yeah. Okay, that was my feeling.
And 3, I will see when I get there.
Act 3 kind of drags a bit, but I'm curious to see what you think when you get there.
And one of the good things about playing it slowly is they are refining the later parts of the game, so maybe it'll smooth off for us by the time we get to those bits that drag. But there's been a fair few updates since it started. But let's do the next one, please. Are you mad because Spider-Man lost to Baldur's Gate 3? Who would be mad about that? This guy hates PlayStation. And we both like Baldur's Gate 3. I think you're in the wrong goddamn chat. Right, let's have the next
fell
one.
into fucking Narnia.
Tony, Final Fantasy 15 was Final Fantasy Versus 13, so yes. But what came out was kind of half Final Fantasy, half Ubisoft action mess. Nobody liked it. Sorry. I like the music though. Right. What is your favourite food and why is it pizza? That's Tony for you.
Well, Tony, it's not fucking pizza. It's poutine, all right? Get on my level, all right?
There you go. Yeah, right. Have you played Gears of War?
Yes, of course.
You love Gears of War.
So, do I love Gears of War? Ooh, I could say I love the first one. And then it lost me.
That was the best one.
Which is kind of, yeah. I think a lot of people like the second, no? Like the second was
a lot of them do, yeah, but you get there's quite a strong little movement that wanted to go back to that kind of survival horror tension of the first one. I hear that a lot.
Well, for those people, I guess we're gonna be happy people for the first one because that rumor of the remasters is getting pretty big right now. It's like resurfacing, and I don't think that's a coincidence.
Right. Don't make Anthony slap me. I will record it. I'm not going to address that. I'm not going to make him slap me. There'll be no recording from you, Tony, but sign up for the League of Legends play.
I could slap him with my foot if you want. I'll take $500 and you have to fly me over there. I can still reach, Asa. I can reach. I'm a fifth dan.
I'm quite good at not getting kicked in the head.
oh, shit.
Just while we're setting the little challenge, it might not be as easy as you're thinking. I know you're good.
Yeah.
But I'm not a slouch. I might have to slouch a bit if you're going to pull that one off.
All right. I gotta get a ladder. So what? We still have to
what have you done,
talk
Tony?
about actual taekwondo later. God damn it.
Yeah. Right, Tony again. What would be your one life advice to those who are having a tough time in life? You can reuse the one about the coach or mentor if you want.
Yeah, I think I was leaning to that. Well, it's not really coach and mentor. Let's remove coach and mentor. Let's just say anyone. If anyone in your life really resonates with you, stick with that person. Love that person. Talk to that person. Be with that person. If that person is somebody that gives you a boost of spirit and a boost of love and anything you need, if that person is satisfying you in a certain way you need, stick on to them, grab onto them, give them a hug, hang out with them, grow that community with that person. And remember, it gets better, man. It gets so much better once you get out of your own head and once you start moving. So that's the best thing I could say.
Hit that one, Tony. Put it everywhere because that's good advice. Right, let's do the next one. Chronic. PlayStation Portal's good for console sales numbers. I heard that. I don't know like who counts it as a console or how important that is, but right. This is Ali. The name is in a script I can't read, but I know it's Ali or Ali. Talking about accessibility options, you think that we should stop always online requirements because that just means that you can't play this game in your country. Not so much a question as a statement, but if my theory or my always line on online only requirements is if we're getting something in return, if it's making the game better in some way, if it's part of the creative vision that you need to be online, by all means be online. But if it's just for control and like commercial bullshit, and if it's like it's even going so far as stopping you from playing, then yeah, it shouldn't be part of it. So I don't know if you've got anything to add on that one. There's not.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I copy what you say.
All right, let's do the next one. And while we're going on to the next one, if you can let us know if there are any specific games that you're blocked from playing at home, then I would be curious. Tony again, what are your thoughts on the Apple Vision and why is Apple Vision... I lost it. Why is Apple Vision better than MetaQuest? Is a question from Tony. You can slap him with your foot.
Okay, here... here's when I'm gonna piss Asa off. Okay, so if Apple does their whole thing... Well, I mean, Apple's gonna fail for sure, but if they could kind of really lean into the eye control, like the controlling things with your eye and it works like they want it to work, and you could apply that to almost everything, like even game input. If you can make that work 100% and have it as an accessibility option, if anyone could do it, it's probably Apple. That's the only props I'm going to give Apple, because they're big enough and they have enough money and they have a different vision, and it might lead there faster. The eye tracking thing for me is so awesome because obviously I can't pinch, I can't scroll with my phone. It just doesn't work, right? For Quest. So eye tracking for me and blinking to click things and all that stuff is super impressive to me. But that price point could go eat its own boot, and it's not better than MetaQuest 3. Anyways, Asa?
You underestimate my meditative state of calm. That didn't piss me off in the slightest. That's fine. That's the eye tracking. The PlayStation VR 2 has the eye tracking menus, and I hate it because I always disable it in every game that I play. But as an option to provide accessibility, it makes a lot more sense. They kind of force it on PSVR 2. So you play the Horizon Call of the Mountain game, and it's the default.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Because Apple right now from the previews anyway, it seems like they really focused on the eye thing and they make it work. It's kind of like Apple's thing, right? And why they've become so big, or let's say, is because they really truly, when they have something in a vision, they try to pioneer in it, right? So like everyone else, like Android, they throw the feature list, but they don't focus on one feature and perfect it, kind of thing. I'm not discrediting Android. I'm an Android user. I got my fucking Pixel phone. I got my everything is Android for me, but it seems like they have a hyper fixation on perfecting a certain thing and a certain, you know, idea, and I think that's why if anyone makes that eye tracking thing work, it's gonna be Apple. That's why I specifically said that.
The thing that I have with the PSVR 2 and their eye tracking is, as it turns out, you think like it's logical, you look at something and you select it, but it turns out that's not how I pass a menu. Normally, if there's a bunch of 3 options, I'll have, maybe I want the first one, I'll pass the rest of them, and if I like the first one, I'll press a button while I'm still looking away from it. So it actually became a bit of a chore to have to look back at the option every time, but I see it will have a purpose at some point. What might be good for you and your VR, if you're looking for content, if you got your headset and you, I don't know if you got, how is your PC? Is it a good PC, like a gaming PC?
I have a 3080.
Oh, you'll be fine for a bunch of stuff. So earlier today, have you heard of the Unreal Engine Universal Injector?
No.
It lets you play pretty much anything in Unreal Engine in VR with a controller, like with the default controls. And it's really, really good.
Really?
I tried it with the Tekken 8 demo today using a controller and was just like, holy shit, this is so much better than it is on a screen. That might open up a world of little like unexpected content avenues for you.
Huh. I'm gonna look that up and take a note.
Look it up, UEVR, or I'll get you on the Discord and I'll send you this stuff because there's quite a lot to it. But on a base level, it's really simple. Cool. Like I launched Soul Calibur 6, hit a button to do this, stuck the headset on, and played Soul Calibur in VR, and it works really well. So yeah,
I'll write that down.
That's a thing. Let's have. Oh no, there's another one. Someone's gone with the capital letters on my name. It's Tony and he's doing it on purpose. Because I told him that means they're yelling. So he yells my name and then says, "Likes to fight every chance he gets when we play online." It means literally when I get an opportunity to set people on fire, I do. Do you do the same to your friends?
Do I light people on fire?
In games, not in real life.
I don't like lighting people on fire. I don't think I've ever done that before. I like to fuck with people. Like, for instance, spamming Pikachu Thunderbolts at my brothers when they so badly they want to punch me in the face. Yes, but besides that, I don't know. Another. Yes, I like fucking with people.
I'm a nightmare because if it's a multiplayer game that has like explosive barrels and stuff like that, and you see me walking backwards, just check your environment.
What was that new game? What's that game that's going around that has like environmentals? Sorry, that game that you could hear around you.
Oh, Lethal Company.
What is it called? Yeah, that game must be a blast for you.
We haven't tried it yet, but yeah.
Have you not? Oh man.
We launched it on one of these Sunday sessions that I was talking about, but we had some microphone issues, and a game like that you can't play with people not being able to hear. So.
Oh, and also, I am very sorry. This whole time I've been swearing like an animal, and I don't know if that's hurting you.
Oh, it's fine. My channel's resilient.
I'm so sorry. All right.
No problem at all.
Such an animal.
Animals can't even talk. What chair do you have?
Yeah, they can. How dare you? How dare you?
Swear.
They squeak and squabble. You don't know. Dolphins are really smart. Okay, so Secret Lab. It's just a regular black.
They're expensive. They suck.
Well, luckily my girlfriend, my beautiful girlfriend, going on 7 years now, bought me it as a gift for Christmas, I think. So I didn't spend a penny. I enjoy it. There's a few versions of them. Some of them have like this slippery leather that it's so freaking annoying and stiff, and it don't get that one. But then there's like a memory, like some sort of memory foam. Like there's a version that has like more matte finish and a little bit of memory foam. And it's just a much more enjoyable thing to sit on. And the back support is almost non-existent, but I use the top pillow. So they have the little pillow on the bottom for lumbar support. I use that, but I also use the top pillow because I don't rest my head I don't rest my head back. I take that pillow and I just put it under my lumbar pillow, and it's like perfect shape for me. So for my case, my specific seating style and whatever, I love the chair. I could sit. I've been doing like almost 6 hours of podcasting today, and I don't feel it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I told you this would be an hour, didn't I? It's been quite a chunk longer. Sorry about that. Let's
Dude,
do the
I
next
don't
question.
care. I'm still on fire. I could go for 4 hours more.
I can't. My chair's terrible. All right, let's do the next one. See, I knew someone that had a Secret Labs chair and it fell apart like on arrival. So that's why I say they're rubbish, but it's only based on one person's anecdotal evidence. All right, painful discourse. Outside of the Souls/Bloodborne, did you play Sekiro and Armored Core? And how do you like it if you did?
Armored Core is on my list. It's really, I'm gonna like choose to play it very soon. I haven't played that game, but I'm super down. Sekiro, I miss Sekiro. I missed that too. I don't know if, again, that's probably the year to do it, because Sekiro came out on a slow year, if I remember, right? Came out in like meh, not too many games released that year. And it did win the Game of the Year that year. Correct?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, so for some odd reason, I don't know. Now that I mention it, I was still training for the Olympics. So I was doing my Olympic run, and I was very fit. Like, I had tunnel vision on my sport at that point. So it didn't work out. No games worked out that year.
Fair enough. It's Sekiro's on my list to go back to as well. But a lot of people's favourite ever, that one, so it's got to be worth a go. Right, let's do the next one. Not the next Sekiro, the next question.
Does it follow farting, Gamzly? What does it?
Your chair is the memory foam good for passing air through?
I'm gonna answer it. My room always stinks like shit. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Right, let's do the next one if we can, please. If there is a next one. Really, I could scroll through these myself. I'm too lazy, so I just ask. Dr. Scottsy asked, do you GM your D&D game or play as a player? And if a player, what race or class? Also, Horde or Alliance?
So, funny story, I'm going to answer the Horde or Alliance question first, because that's the whole origin of my name, Gamzly. I don't know if I've mentioned it on podcasts before, but Gamzly was just a mess up on me. Like, you'd think, oh yeah, he meant to call himself Gamzly. That's a pretty cool dwarf name, right? And maybe you could use it as Gamzly because he plays games. Haha. No, it was a mess up. I was like, what's that dwarf's name in Lord of the Rings? Gimli. Like, I loved dwarves and I loved Alliance because they had dwarves, and I named him fucking Gamzly because that's what I thought Gimli's name was in Lord of the Rings at the time. So it was a very terrible origin story, but it's one of a kind name. It never gets taken. So it's.
I have a really important question for you then. This is really important.
Yeah.
On Game On Daily, like a week and a half ago, you said Horde. Yeah. Why you lie?
Horde, because Blood Elf is what I ended with. Yeah. Blood Elf is what I ended with, and that's my most successful guy because of the silence. So they had the extra silence, and me as a paladin, I love to juke cast and stun and silence other paladins. And the silence for Blood Elf was like a major win, and it gave so much mana back at the time. So Blood Elf forever. So Horde forever, but Alliance first.
But you started Alliance, yeah. Fair enough. You have to have tried both to really be a Warcraft player these days, right? As it's been out so long. And yeah, you said earlier you dungeon master your Dungeons and Dragons, didn't you?
Yes. Yep. I've been a DM for freaking, like, my god, 10 years now. I've been really getting better at it, better and better. I do the Starfinder version. So I do Pathfinder. It's Paizo kind of guys. They do spin-off of D&D, different world called Starfinder, and it's a sci-fi version. So I do that. but I also do regular fantasy D&D. It's just that I play as a player in that version, and my best friend DMs, and we go back and forth.
Fair enough. Right. Episode 13. I'm not sensitive. I just love my console of choice, which is Xbox. Doesn't he sound sensitive?
Man, who is this again? This is who?
Episode 13. He has a lot of sensitive feelings around. Yeah.
Episode 13. Wow. Why are you being so sensitive, bro? Can't believe it.
Sorry, episode 13.
Go
He's still your
PlayStation.
ally. He's still an Xbox
Go
person, so you can
PlayStation.
say whatever you want. He'll like you. It's
PlayStation's amazing. PlayStation's
can't say that.
fantastic. PlayStation better controller.
Right. Isla has asked, you can say none if it's true. What starters did you pick for whichever Pokemon games you've played? Pokemon gens you've played.
What started? Okay, so starters, I loved Charmander for most of my life. I was a Charmander ride or die guy. For some reason, it's changed to Pikachu. It's not starter, obviously, but or it was in the first games, but I love Pikachu. He's my mascot now. Every chance I get to catch a Pikachu, I use him as if he was my starter. But yeah, Charmander, the OG.
You still play them? Like the Switch ones?
Yes, I do, because it's kind of my girlfriend and I's kind of little love story, right? Like we both love. That's what games we connect with. Like we have a similar taste with. Like she loves Nintendo stuff, and I really use Nintendo as a platform to bond with her whenever I can.
I've never played a Pokemon. Should I? Or is it too late?
Is this an Asa question? Is
this
for you?
Question. Yeah.
Pokemon, you should really go back first. I say you go back. I say you go back to. You go back to, let's say, Sapphire. Go back to Sapphire. Play Sapphire. Yeah, play that generation. I forgot what generation that was, but play Sapphire. See how you like it.
Fair enough. Let's do... There you go. Well, you got satisfactory answer, I'm sure. Let's do the next one. And to all the people that are showing up, this pain and others, thank you for being here.
Animal Crossing better. Animal Crossing is amazing, Tonio. It's amazing.
There you go. In your face, Tony. He turned that around on you, didn't he? That's it. That was the last question. So... Oh,
there you go. That's it.
Yeah, we'll wrap up on that. So I'm going to thank everybody that's come through. There's been a bunch of people coming and talking and listening, and it has been a pleasure to have you on here. Is there anything in closing that you want to say to people? What you're up to, where they can find you, those kind of things? I'm gonna say it here because I say it every podcast. So sorry if you're like a double dipper, everybody. But again, some people with disabilities aren't as annoying and as charming as I am. Just give them a hug if you see somebody in the community that needs help, or our community that needs help. Help them out. Smile. Give them a hug. Give them advice. Be there for them. You never know how much it might increase somebody's life. It could really give them a boost. So do that. Be kind. Also, you could find me on X or Twitter, whatever the fuck you call it, at Gamzly TKD, I believe, and Instagram, where all my sports stuff is, at Anthony Cappello Anthony Cappello 450. You could go check me out there. Yeah, and for 2024, I have huge plans for YouTube specifically. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm a little bit of a wild cannon. I'm a little bit of a free agent right now, but I have a plan, and stay tuned on my socials, and maybe if you like me, you'll like the future. Awesome. Yeah, for me, thanks again for coming on. That was awesome. I don't normally host this kind of thing on this channel and have a little chat, but it's been really good, I think. So
thanks for doing it for me.
I much appreciate you coming by. For other people here, the usual Thursday back and forth will happen as it always does. There might be some games today. There'll definitely be some games all over the week. And yeah, that's it. Thank you and blah.
Asa, Game On Daily.